just focusing on Instagram at the minute. But it is, you really need to tailor content to each platform. Like, you can't just sort of throw out the same content on every platform because they all work differently.
Hey, thank you for joining me on the Social Buzz podcast. I know you're a very busy lady, but thank you so much. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me anyway. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. It's not often we get one of the leading content creators in the food sector from Manchester anyway on, so it's a pleasure to have you on.
Oh my God, I didn't have that title.
I've been following you for a while, and there's a reason I wanted you on. There's a very specific reason I wanted you on here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we go into this, because this is going out on Spotify, there's a video going out. Some people might recognize you, some people won't. Just give a background about yourself, please.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning because it's how I got into it and everything. Because originally I never wanted to get into marketing; it was actually photography. But so I used to work at a theme park. I was actually a ride operator, and
Wow.
the person who did I know, it's really weird. The person who did the social media there, she left on holiday, so I took it over, and I was doing photography at uni at the time. Because photography's always been my passion, absolutely loved photography. And I took it over, and that's what really sparked it. But I left uni, and I ended up in a Wetherspoons management role, and I was just working my way up and up, and I was there for just under 3 years. And I started thinking to myself, do I really want to go into pub management for the rest of my life? And I was like, what do I always thought I was going to be a photographer. I tried wedding photography and didn't like that. And tried other bits of photography and it just didn't stick. So eventually I was like, what do I enjoy doing? And I ended up enrolling on a master's course. It was digital marketing at Salford.
Okay.
And my God, like that course just changed everything for me, really. Like, I ended up getting a job within in the industry within 2 months of.
What year is that?
It was last year.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
literally last year. That's it. Just everything just snowballed from there. I went part-time at Spoons, started my degree, and then I ended up. There was like a module where you had to optimize your profiles and apply for jobs, and I just ended up applying for a few, and that's how I got my job at ARCHIE'S, and right now that's where I'm at doing stuff
I'm gonna come to ARCHIE'S, and the problems ARCHIE'S cause me is ridiculous, and I'll come to why in a minute, right? I'm not gonna go into the usual kind of boring kind of questions, right? People that follow ARCHIE'S will know your work. Yeah, anything content-wise you're producing, you're coming up with it. And the reason I said ARCHIE'S caused me a lot of problems, there's a reason I said that in a good way. Because what you did at ARCHIE'S and what you guys have managed to do and what the founders have managed to do was make fast food sexy and cool, if that kind of makes sense, yeah? So, because we do a lot of social media content production, social media management, and a lot of brands come to us and they go, we want it like this. And you think, well, it's not really that easy to do it like that because you've got quite a unique look with the pink backdrops and the pinks carry through all the way through. Now, and fair play to you, you've done something, you've created something very unique. Even when I was looking at your Instagram and you were doing the photo shoot at home, I think it was, and you did a time lapse. So it's very interesting how you do that. Credit to you. Now, how important has content become in the modern day? Especially for brands that are smaller. I'm not on about, if you look at McDonald's, you look at KFC, you look at Nike, you look at their multiple Instagram accounts. They're very post that regular. But the smaller brands, the local shops, the local takeouts, the local pubs, bars, whatever, they are very reliant on social because of how quick it is and how to communicate. So how important has content become in the modern day? Sorry, it was a bit of a long-winded question there. So,
okay. Yeah, content. I don't know about you, but like I genuinely consume a lot of content.
Oh,
Like
my screen time is ridiculous. So bad.
I'm addicted to YouTube. I love YouTube. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely love YouTube. Instagram. I'm not too much on Facebook, but that video section on Facebook always gets me. And
Yeah.
then I spend most of the time on there. But so important because, you know, just like using Facebook as an example, if you have like a good video on there and, you know, it starts trending and it's in that, what's they call it on Facebook? That video page. It's kind of like TikTok, you know, where you can just scroll.
The video feed page.
Yeah, that one. I never know what
Yeah,
they're called.
I know. Yeah.
But to be working in this industry, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
what? But yeah, you know, you end up like scrolling through there for ages, and it's, you know, and then you'll think, oh, I'll start following them for more of this content, and then, you know, subtly you can sort of talk about your brand, but obviously, you know, branded content's huge, and just content.
Do you think? Do you know my problem with content is, and I'll see what you think, right? So you produce content, and a lot of people are just producing content for the sake of producing it because they see somebody else producing it, rather than thinking, right, we're appealing to 18 to 24-year-olds that are uni, that are, you know, young, they want to go out. So we need something along them lines. They'll just look at, my problem with it is people just look at, let's say, all right, Archie's have done this, or these guys have done that, let's just do that. And that's where I slightly feel people are getting lost with content. And I feel it's not, then there's no purpose behind it. If, let's say, KFC have just done an ad after the lockdown reopening, we should do an ad for the lockdown reopening. If KFC are running an ad on Insta, we should run an ad on Insta when, like you said, you're in your, let's say, I'm not going to guess your age because I'll get it wrong, but the younger audience is more on the kind of Instagrams, the TikToks, whereas the maturer audience, the 30 pluses, 35 pluses, will still sit on Facebook. And some people just won't even understand that and just say, well, we just need to be on Instagram, we need to be on TikTok. You're selling, you know, a product to over 45-year-olds and you're trying to sell it on TikTok. Well, we've seen it on TikTok. And that's sometimes where I see the problem with it is, do you agree or disagree with that? Or
Oh yeah, totally. Like, you know, you can't just produce something for the sake of it. Like, you have to really know, like, you have to hone in on your audience. There has to be a purpose behind it and a strategy as well. And you're right as well, like the different platforms, yeah, like, you know, I think, is it above 25 to 4? No, and above. I can't remember the numbers, but, you know, genuinely, like, there's much like, not elderly, but like older people on Facebook.
yeah, so if you're over 35, you probably sit on Facebook more because you were, when Facebook 12 years ago, when you were in your early 20s, it was the only thing to be. So you naturally still there, your friends are on there, your connections are on there. And the newer generation, like we have 18-year-olds that work for us and they don't use text messaging. They're all on Snapchat and they just message each other by Snap. So every kind of age group has its own kind of platform that they sit on. So when you're coming up with content, what's your process?
So like I know I'm like name dropping Archie's quite a lot, but I mean Archie's like demographic is definitely like, you know, 18 to 30 odd, but really like we kind of just focus on Instagram. Like it's just me who does all the social media myself, as well as the majority of the content, and it's difficult. There's not enough hours in the day. Yeah, so really we've just got this massive focus on Instagram, and I've sort of dropped Twitter. Sorry, but and then Facebook, I really want to start working on that because I every day I look at the Facebook and I'm like, this is not what I want for it, but you know. But yeah, just focusing on Instagram at the minute. But it is, you know, you really need to tailor content to each platform. Like you can't just sort of throw out the same content on every platform because they all work differently. You know, like video is huge on Facebook.
Do you guys, how in advance would you work? So are you now thinking of like towards spring, or do you work? We work a month in advance. How we do it here. So because we're managing multiple clients, so we'll be a month in advance, especially with the current situation, things changing. But because you're in-house in a brand, would you be working more? Are you now thinking towards Valentine, that part, or are you more like towards, we're still towards Christmas and more towards the New Year?
Everyone always thinks this, but the thing about Archie's is everything's last minute.
Oh, yeah, listen, we work with some of the biggest brands. We'll get a call in the morning. We want it done. We want it now. And it needs to look the bomb. And you think, mate, this could take 3 days. No, now it needs to go live at 6. You think, oh, right, okay. I think all brands are like that. But in your head, would you be still quite in advance, thinking quite far
Oh,
ahead?
yeah. Like, I mean, I've not actually done any shoots for Christmas yet because we've been so busy. We're opening 2 new stores like in the space of 2 weeks of one another.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've sort of thought in my head, and I'm starting to do my mood board for Christmas, and I'm hoping to bash Christmas out either next week or the week after, and then schedule it all. But yeah, definitely, like, I think in advance, but then it takes a while to get it onto paper.
Yeah, it takes a while, and then things change, and the client wants change. In your case, the owners will want to change last minute, and then things just go out the window. How have you guys found the current pandemic? And I know you're still, obviously, except the 2 stores that I know of yours, the one on Oxford Street, there's one you can dine in, and the other one was takeout, the original one. How has it affected you guys overall? I know you had expansion, you had one in Old Trafford coming, the Piccadilly one was quite new. So how has that affected you guys overall?
So right at the beginning, like, the marketing team were pretty shook because we were now like sort of having to think, how are we going to market delivery only, because that's how we were operating
In
to
March?
yeah, and to be honest, a bit of April as well, like to our customer base, and it was quite difficult really. But we've
Because
sort of
for the viewer, people that haven't been at Archie's, people come to you more. That's where they come for the experience, the way the stores
yeah.
look, the vibe of it. So you reliant on the footfall coming in, and you're positioned in places where you're going to get, where the foot people just tend to just pop in rather than a local takeout where you just ring them and then they deliver. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we do a lot of takeaways, but it's definitely like, especially like now, like early years, it was probably more takeaway, but now we're really like capitalizing on, like, you don't just come to Archie's just for a burger. You come to Archie's for the experience, and like, that's what the whole brand's been based on. I don't know if you know the backstory behind it. It's they based it on License to Drive.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, the film, yeah. So it's 4 brothers based on License to Drive, and there was like a place in the film. I've not seen the film. I need to watch it, but yeah, they based it on that, and it's like the cool place to hang out, and that's what the whole brand's just
It's
based
the
on.
American diner kind of feel, isn't it? The modern,
Yeah,
cool diner. There's music on. There's a vibe. It's welcoming. It's very, because when I think of Archie's, and there's, you could take Kareem's for example, which is a different kind of feel, and to me, I just think of it as a cool American diner, modern day diner. Where
yeah.
you can come in, and that's the kind of vibe of it. So then, when you got to April, you started adapting, and then how you found it from then?
I mean, we kind of got in our routine, and now we've definitely adapted, but it was definitely difficult. Like, I mean, I was, looking at different brands, thinking, how can we make this work for us, and seeing what other people had done, and just, and yeah, it was difficult. But I mean, once you get into the routine of it, it becomes second nature. It's just something new, and you have to, in the marketing industry anyway, you have to be able to adapt, and we adapted pretty well. And in lockdown, the deliveries were through the roof, so we were happy about that.
One of our offices was our colony office was next to the Piccadilly one, so we went back into the office in July. So we used to walk across to the Piccadilly one, and
That's
yeah, it's very nice in there. And if somebody was starting, let's say somebody's watching this and they haven't got the resources of an in-house marketing team or an agency, and they wanted to create content, what advice would you give them?
Okay, so on
When I'm
Google,
saying advice, for example, kit-wise, something they could purchase,
yeah.
little tricks that you could advise on.
yeah, there's a really good freebie on Google. It's called Google Garage, and it's just like a free course on. You can, I think there's one on content marketing, digital marketing, social media. But kit wise, I mean, I would definitely like start watching some tutorials on YouTube. Just, you know, if you're wanting to create content for your social media, maybe start by watching like, you know, a bit more advanced photography or video, a little bit on like social media marketing. And then I guess like kit wise, I
Would you
was
use
going to
your
get the
phone?
camera out, but
Would you use
um,
your phone? Would you invest in maybe a very cheap DSLR? You know, just
mm,
something that somebody can do. I know the phones, like we use some of the story content we use. We've actually found the Huawei P30 Pro that we use very good compared to using a DSLR. Just it's quicker and you can the camera
mm.
quality was very good. So would you just use your phone if somebody was starting out? Would you say?
If you were starting out, yes, I'd probably, because you know you have to use what's available to you. But if you really want to sort of like buy a cheap camera that does the job, I'd definitely recommend the Canon G7X. It's a great little pocket camera, but you can also shoot in RAW and put it on manual. And for years, I used to use that, and still to this day, like there's a few things that I use it for. I actually use it for video quite a
Is that a
bit.
DSLR? Did you say? Sorry.
No, just a pocket camera.
Fab. And how much would that cost? Would you say average?
Well, years ago it's about £300, but it's definitely dropped now. And I buy all of my cameras, all of my kit is secondhand, and I use a website called mpb.com. That's a great.
MPB.
Oh yeah,
Sorry, I'm
it's
writing it down for myself.
yeah, it's honestly you can sell and trade, and it's a really good website. Like I buy all my kit there. I don't go anywhere else.
And what about if somebody wanted to invest in something? What kind of camera would you recommend, or lenses, or anything?
Okay, so I'm a Sony shooter, so I mean I've got
Sony's
this.
hot at the moment.
I love
It used to
Sony.
be Canon.
I used to be a Canon shooter and I
Yeah.
switched because
Canon 5D, 7D,
they're too
Mark
heavy.
II, Mark III.
It took them too long to get a proper mirrorless camera out. Sony were definitely in the lead with the mirrorless cameras.
Wow.
That's why I switched anyway. And it's so much lighter as well. But there is they've got a line. Oh, what are they called? Sony A600, 6000. I can't remember, but they're crop sensor cameras. They're actually
Okay.
quite small, but you know, interchangeable lens and everything. Brilliant if you're starting out. Um, you know, you can sort of mess around. Really good beginners. There's loads of tutorials on YouTube about them, and yeah.
And what about backdrops? Would you just buy them from the card shop or anywhere online? Props?
I buy all my backdrops from the range.
Fine, you know.
It's just card. It's just
Yeah, yeah,
card. That's my
yeah.
biggest secret. But props and stuff. I don't know. I just sort of think
I saw
about
the ones
what.
you did with the lemons.
Oh, I love that photo shoot. That was
Yeah.
that was a great one. I think that was one of my favourite. But yeah, just think about what you kind of want, and then you know what is the product. You know, like for example, pink lemonade. So we literally spray painted a lemon pink and then cut it up so you could see the inside, and it worked really well. And you know, just like what is the product? You know, maybe it's like a fresh moisturizer or something. Maybe like think what is fresh. I don't know. Leaves come to mind.
Mm.
To me, put some leaves in the background. But yeah, you just have to sort of think. And oh, mood boards as well. That's another top tip of mine. I don't ever go on a photo shoot without a mood board. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'd just I wouldn't know what I'm doing. But yeah, and you can get, you know, Pinterest's really good for that. So
And what platforms do you think at the moment are the best to focus on, or you spend a lot of time on? So for a
uh,
view, sorry, let me ask you that. So if somebody was starting out, like you said, and let's say it is a fast food brand, or let's say it's a takeout, or let's say it's even let's see what online clothing brand, fashion brand. What platform would you recommend from your experience to kind of focus in on rather than saying go on everything?
Yeah, so I mean, fast food and clothing brands are very visual. So something where people can see your product. So Instagram's brilliant for that. And especially now they've got Instagram Reels, IGTV, Stories. I
I
just
hate
think that
reels.
platform. I didn't like them to begin with because I really don't like TikTok, but I'm sort of getting there. It's not TikTok. It's a bit different. I kind of like it,
I
but
think it's just a watered down version.
it is. That's true. That's true. But I don't know why I could never get in. I tried TikTok, and
Instagram Faye went from a photography app. It's just become like a bit of YouTube, a bit of Snapchat, a bit of Shopify on there. Now you can buy stuff, and then you've got these downloadable guides you can do now. So it's a bit,
yeah, I saw that.
and it's
It's
like
become everything. They're
a
just
bit of
stealing
TikTok
every
as well.
platform.
Yeah, and I feel, if you want my honest opinion, I feel they do steal every feature, but I don't feel they do it as well.
Mm,
So if you take the long form video, it's nowhere near as good as YouTube. If you take the stories, maybe they're as good as Snapchat. I get that. The the short videos, I don't think the experience is anywhere as good. And
mm,
I think Instagram's going through a phase now, what Facebook was going through in 2013, 14, where people started just finding something cooler, which was Instagram then. And now they're
mm.
finding something cooler, which is TikTok. And the downside is Facebook can't buy it. So they're like, otherwise they just purchase it and just say, right, we'll
Yeah.
just use it. Um, that's how I see it. I think they water down, but sorry, back to your answer, and I cut you off there. Platform, so Instagram, anything else?
Um, I mean, it depends on the target audience as well, really, and the demographics, like where are your audience going to be? I don't know, like I really like Instagram. TikTok's pretty cool, but just I don't know. I've not made it over there yet, but
Well,
there's only one of me. I can't do
yeah.
everything. But
What about do you guys do much email marketing?
yeah, so it's not actually me that does the email marketing, it's someone else, but we didn't really used to, but we've actually just started getting on it a lot more, and really, especially since we started doing click and collect,
Hmm.
um, we've really got on it, and we're getting some really good, like, you know, um,
Interaction.
yeah, I was thinking of the word, I was like, what is it called? But yeah, good interaction, and looking at the analytics, it's surprising.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
And one of my last questions to you is, with things the way they are, how do you see 2021 shaping up then? This interview might go out in 2021, so it's a pre-record 21. So how do you see
Hopefully.
the next 12 months? Yeah, how do you see the next 12 months shaping up?
The next what, sorry?
12 months shaping up.
Oh, well, I mean, this vaccine's looking promising, so I'm excited about that. And then I'm guessing a lot of people are going to want to go out a lot more. And but then again, I kind of think that people have been especially for retail, like ordering online for so long, or fast food, they're getting deliveries. Maybe they're going to get used to it. I don't
Get
know.
lazy.
Yeah, I just don't know. Well, for me personally, like I can't wait to go back out and get back to normal. But at the same time, I've enjoyed being at home and just sitting in my joggers on Amazon.
Black Friday. This interview
Yeah.
has been recorded on Black Friday. And do because you work in the food in that kind of, you're at the forefront of especially change because of how quick it's gone on to, do you think, I know it's fashionable now, just get everyone's saying just close your restaurant, just put it onto Deliveroo, put it onto Uber, put it onto Just Eat. But I feel it's just getting really saturated.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know how many there's more choice on there now, and there's only the same amount of customers. And with the recession, people spending less. How can, I just don't see how so many can survive.
I know it's very difficult, and I really do feel for like a lot of independent businesses that have really struggled in this. Like me and my boyfriend actually are going to start doing once a week, like click and collect. to just support the businesses. But God, I've forgotten the question.
How do you see it? So my point was, firstly, the next 12 months in the food sector changing, and then I've said in that was, you see so many, all these restaurants and takeouts that have gone on to Deliveroo. I just see how they survive. It's just so saturated, isn't it?
Oh yeah, like, you know, Deliveroo and Uber Eats are booming. Like, I remember at the
I
start of
think they created the
lockdown,
vaccine. I mean, the virus. I think they created it.
I remember thinking like, oh, I bet they're loving it right now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, they were trying to get everyone on there. Everyone was trying to get on all platforms. Like, well, Archie's was only on Uber Eats to begin with, and we actually ended up on Just Eat and Deliveroo. Not with Just Eat anymore, but we're still on Deliveroo. But and you know, and at the time, like when the first lockdown came and all the restaurants shut, so I knew Wagamama is completely shut. And but we continued to deliver. It wasn't so saturated then, but once everywhere started opening up again, and you know, and the sort of thinking, I think it took a while for people to catch on, but you know, and people are, oh, everyone's on Deliveroo and Uber Eats now, so definitely saturated. I don't know how people are going to do it. I guess you just have to like sort of hammer on it, like Uber and Deliveroo, like, please feature me.
Yeah.
Help me out, and you know, and you really have to hone in on your marketing as well. I guess,
Do you think you
like,
need to be more aggressive now than before?
yeah, sad to say, but I also think there's like a sense of community in the food industry at the minute, which is quite nice. Like, I mean, we've never really like sort of communicated with other brands like publicly on social media, and we're really starting to do that now. Like, just for a sense of, you know, we're all in this together, sort of thing, which is really nice. And just making me sad thinking about things, but yeah,
Oh,
hopefully no one.
sorry, I didn't want to make you feel sad there, and
It's
it,
okay.
it is tough, and I think things can only get better. I don't think they can get any worse than what they are. Anyone that's surviving, fair play to you. You know, there's so many closing down,
Mm,
but again, I think the ones that will win are the ones that have built a brand,
yeah,
rather than the ones that were just price led. You know, the
yeah,
ones that are price led will die because you end up especially when you're only looking at it on an app. You think, oh
mm,
yeah, I know them. Let's order from there, rather than I've never heard of these, and
mm,
they've got. Does you see where I'm going with that? It's I
yeah,
just
yeah.
feel them are the ones that can win. And if anybody wants to follow you, check you behind the scenes out, how can they see your stuff?
Probably through my Instagram.
Yeah.
Although like I'm usually logged in as Archie's most of the time, so I just forget about it. But I've started trying to post a little bit more like behind the scenes on my personal Instagram, so just through
And
there.
what's the handle?
It's Faye, Fayel, and then Valentine, all one
Fabulous.
word.
Put it in the description.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, Faye.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Like, I got the message and I was like, what?
Yeah.
But
It's been
yeah,
a
oh, thank you so
pleasure.
much. It's been really nice
Thank
talking
you.
to you.
Thank you.